welcome to What's Your Dream, the podcast where we dive into the art of dreaming, goal setting, and visualization. I'm your host, Trisha, and today we have a very special guest, Donna, an international spiritual intelligence method coach and the visionary founder of Vibrant Living International. This remarkable nonprofit organization is dedicated to empowering individuals on their journey to vibrant, purpose-driven lives. With over 30 years of experience as an inspired speaker and spiritual intelligence method coach, Donna has touched countless lives with her warm, caring, and down-to-earth approach. She has helped individuals around the world accelerate their personal transformational journeys, guiding them to experience their dreams of abundance while maintaining harmony and fostering thriving relationships. Donna's mission is clear: to empower you to double your clarity, peace, self-confidence, and productivity in just 12 weeks. Get ready to be inspired and motivated as we explore the pathways to a more vibrant and purposeful life. Let's go. Hello, Donna. How are you doing today?
I am doing great, Trisha. How are you?
Doing great. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. And we will just dive right in if you're ready.
I'm ready. Let's go
Awesome.
for it.
Awesome. The first question is, what is your biggest dream or aspiration?
My biggest dream is just to make a difference. And I guess I'm doing that now, but to keep growing and expanding.
Yeah, amazing. So how are you currently doing that?
Well, I am a spiritual intelligence and life mastery coach. I do have over 30 years of experience, so I've been doing it a bit before coaching was such a fashionable thing. Um, and so that is my primary way.
Very nice. Well, I absolutely love the spirituality world, so this is going to be an amazing conversation.
Sounds good.
Awesome. What makes you feel grateful and full of joy today?
Oh, there's so many things. When I start to be thankful for my husband, my home, even my bed and my pillow.
Mhm.
A cup of tea is something that always makes me smile. My grandkids, my kids. So I have a long list.
Yeah, I love that you said grandkids before your kids. It's so funny. I've always heard being a grandparent is so rewarding, even compared to being a parent.
I think the most rewarding thing is it reminds you of your children. And there's nothing quite like the first time they see grass or a bug or they learn things. And so, even though you love and have a great time with your children, there's something about kids, little kids that bring that out. So, they're both joy filled for me.
Of course, yeah. And I think your patience, you get a little bit more patience as you get
You
older.
do.
Yeah. And it's
Yeah.
just because I still have a 6-year-old. So it's like, I mean, about to have an 18-year-old as well. So grandkids could be in the next 10 years for me as well. So very, very interesting for sure. All right. What are the most significant lessons you've learned throughout your life and how have they shaped you as a person?
Mm. I think one of the big things lessons that I have learned is to take more risk and to believe bigger would be one of the biggest areas. With the way that my childhood was and things like that, it appeared that being visible wasn't a good thing. And it was usually, there's a whole lot of stories that I don't know how much you want to get into, but sufficient to say when you were noticed, it wasn't positive.
Yeah.
And so learning to be able to not make that mean something about me and to be more bold and to be more authentic of who I really was and to own it with more confidence would be something that I would like to know younger.
Yeah, yeah. And I think, I mean, that's something even as a child, you seek that, right? You seek the
Yes.
attention, you seek the apparent, like even just your parents, right? And so I think as adults, it is, I mean, those societal norms, I mean, I'm fighting those big time right now on this
Yep.
spiritual journey, on this soul journey, as I call it. It's like you have to figure out a way to say, okay, well, what actually feels good to me? because it doesn't
Mhm.
really matter what all those outside sources are telling you. And I personally, I mean, I don't watch the news. I don't keep up with, I mean, I hear political stuff and everything every once in a while, but I just don't keep up with it because it's like I do think that our vote matters, right? And I will do my research and all of that before I would ever go vote. But at the same time, it's like I am not going to sit in the negativity of everything that's in the news and pay attention to all the societal norms that have kind of shaped us as humans. It's kind of like just like letting them go one by one is kind of what I've been doing.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah. I think that's probably, I mean, it's probably something you chat with some of your clients about too, since you're kind of on this spiritual or they're on this spiritual journey and they're seeking your guidance. Is that something you guys talk about?
I word it a little bit differently about just being authentic. And I can speak my truth without having to prove
Mhm,
that I'm right. And I think that's what the same thing you're saying is like if if I don't like, well, rap music
mhm,
or some flavor of music or heavy metal or whatever, some kind of music, and I don't like it, it doesn't mean that I'm wrong.
right.
And so learning to be able to, I mean, there are some basic truths that are true, whether I feel like it or not. But learning to be able to be more authentic and to embrace and find out all the gifts that are inside each one of us and help those come out.
Yeah, authentic is definitely one of my favorite words, one of my values for sure. So yes, that is what definitely part of what I'm trying to say. So as far as your spiritual coaching goes, and how, like, what kind of principles or how do you work with clients? Do you do one-on-one? What are all the ways that you work with your clients?
I do one-on-one and group coaching, both. And I began most of my coaching as a one-on-one practice going back in time, and you grow where you develop groups. I had groups the same time and just figuring, but they were in person. Remember those days? And now everything is virtual. So I do both of those things.
Yeah. And I think, I mean, I definitely have an appreciation for the virtual, but I absolutely have an appreciation for things in person. It's like I like to try to do both. So that way, at least you feel that. Cause I mean, it doesn't, like, even sitting here on Zoom, right? It's like it just doesn't feel quite as authentic as being able to, like, oh, when I think you're funny, like tap your shoulder or, just even give each
Hmm.
other a hug and say hello, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So it did some amazing things by connecting people, but at the same time, it has definitely hindered our society to that real, true connection of like actual energy. Not that energy can't be exchanged here as well, but
Yeah.
it definitely a little bit.
It's so funny that you go back into in person and you feel awkward.
Yeah, yeah.
And you move through it. But if I talk about my grandson is 5. So he was born during all, well, yours was right before it. So there was so much of their life that wasn't around all the other kids and that kind of stuff. And so it just begins to feeling like how can you adjust, but there's nothing like a good hug.
Absolutely. What inspires you and motivates you to keep going even when faced with challenges?
Ah, um, I'm trying to figure out how to, I pause because I'm trying to figure out how to say it, but there's just this inner fire.
Mhm.
It is a calling I know I've had for a long time to be able to do this. I just didn't know exactly how to articulate it. And that is um one of the things is like, it doesn't matter at what. If you would do what you love, you would do it for free. And you do it when there's adversity. You do it all the time. It's just who you are. And so that is who I am.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, and I like pauses personally. I have this whole idea of the awkward silence, and sometimes it's like awkward silence is okay. It's only awkward if you make it awkward. It's like you have to
Right.
have a bit of that pause to, and not that we don't know the
Reflect.
answer. It's just like, okay, I'm going to dig in a little, channel my inner self and be inspired to say whatever comes out. Right?
To reflect.
Yes, exactly. What do you hope to leave behind in the world as your legacy?
Mm. A whole bunch of people who know their identity and who know their inheritance and are walking in their calling.
Very cool. So do you like what as far as your coaching goes, do you have any like what's your most amazing story from one of your clients?
Well, I don't know that I would use the word most because they are all amazing in their own way and their own journey. Um, One of my most recent favorite is a woman. She is in her 70s and she is a parenting and relationship coach. And she paid to learn and grow. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
So many of us feel like we're checking out. I'm going to retire, and she's launching all that she's doing and doing it bigger and better. And just watching her expand her reach and to grow personally, watch her be hungry to learn. I think that that was one of the things that, because, people say, what age group do you work with? Like, well, I have 30-year-olds and I have almost 80-year-olds. So, it's a lot of there's a lot of gamut in there. It's people who want to grow and
Yeah.
make a difference. And that is it. So that's one amazing story to me, just because I just felt like I was supposed to mention the age because we feel like I'm too old or I'm too young or whatever. That's not an excuse to do whatever it is that's in your heart. Another one of mine is a woman who was a widow or is a widow and has two kids, and she had founded a nonprofit organization to help at-risk kids. And nevertheless, she had been through loss and pain and was struggling to take care of herself. And if anybody started any business, especially a nonprofit, it can be challenging. Usually, people who start nonprofits are very passionate about what their subject is, and she was, which can create burnout as well. So when she came to me, she was reaching 30 at-risk kids. And recently I had a conversation with her. She's now reaching 1,000. And she said it is easier. Her health has improved and her relationship with her kids has also improved. And so going from that, just watching how we think that when we grow, it's going to be harder. Naturally, we just think that it's going to be something's going to have to give. But what if it didn't? What if there were secrets that I could share to be able to have your life from a place of ease and grace? And so that's another one of my favorite stories.
Yes, very nice. I love it. And I think, I mean, you think about it, and I believe that I will probably live till close to 100. Both, like all of my great grandparents have lived forever. And they haven't taken care of themselves. They've smoked, they've had diabetes, they've just eaten terrible and all of that. And I know we're in kind of a phase right now where like nutrition is lacking just in our soil and things like that. But I think that I take better care of myself than they did. And so I just know that I'm going to live probably till close to 100. And so it's one of those things that like 70 to 100, that's 30 years.
I know it is.
Possibly got 30 plus years ahead of her. So it is. I mean, it's never too late, to especially to live out your passion and your purpose. I truly believe that, there's people like you and me that are just we're messengers, right? We're trying to help
Mhm.
other people get to the things that we've discovered much faster than, at least I'll speak for myself, than I discovered them. I was on a personal development journey, still am, of course, but for 10 plus years. And if I can help somebody get 3 years in and discover the things that I've discovered, then that's a win in my situation. So it's awesome to be able to say that, we've kind of become those messengers.
Mhm.
Celebrate that.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So what is one action that you take every day to get closer to your dreams?
My devotional time.
Mhm.
And it's non-negotiable. That's something that happens. And I can't say it always was that way. But it is the case today. That would be one.
Yeah. And do you mind me asking, what is it that you study?
The primary book is the Bible.
Mhm.
But I'm an avid reader, so I'm always reading something. I read an average. well, for learning, I read more than this, but for learning, a book a month at least. So, but usually more than that. And then I read on fun, for fun, other than that.
Yeah, I love
So,
reading. Reading is definitely my
so
mainstay.
reading, music, it just has different components. It's not rigid at all.
Yeah, yeah. I think reading is something I always say, I wish I could get paid to read. So I'm still working on that, trying to figure out how to make that happen. I'm in the middle of a book series called Conversations with God. It's super interesting.
Yep.
Very, very interesting.
Hmm.
Is there anything else that you would like to leave with our listeners today?
Mm. Wherever you find yourself, uh, don't try to DIY it. I think that's one of the biggest downfall. I don't know that it's new today, but information's more prevalent today. And so we figure we can figure it out on our own. And we watch a webinar or YouTube or a podcast or read a book, even. But reading and seeing and viewing doesn't tell you how to apply it. So the wisdom of, or the clarity on how to take the knowledge and make it something I can make actionable and makes a difference in my life. So don't DIY it.
Yeah.
If you want more in your life, find a coach. Find not your best friend, not someone else, but find someone who can give you objective advice, who has walked the path to really help you. That's the biggest thing I wish I had known different. I didn't trust because of things that had happened to me. And information wasn't as prevalent. You had to go to the library. You had to go to, encyclopedias. Um, and so learning to be able to find the right resources and connect with that would have been life-changing for me, and it will be for you as a listener.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that, especially as, I mean, in your personal life and business,
Yep.
there's definitely been times that I've had a personal coach and a business coach all at the same time because, I mean, they are two different things, but, as a business owner, it's going to bring up a lot of those personal issues. I think that as soon as I became a business owner, it was like, oh, okay, now I've got to work on the personal development so that way my business thrives as well. Because it's about the belief in yourself and the wisdom and actually taking it, right? Knowledge is only knowledge if you use it. So
Yeah.
I would definitely agree with your statement there. So thank you so much for coming on the podcast today.
My pleasure. It's always a pleasure.
All right. Very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.